Welcome to In Residence, a new podcast from Atlanta Homes and Lifestyles. I'm Elizabeth Ralls, and I'm the owner and publisher.
And I'm Lauren Iverson, the editor-in-chief.
In this series, we'll explore the creatives, the craftspeople, and the design industry talents who make Atlanta a serious destination for design.
Within this new 4-part series, we filmed it inside our most recent Home for the Holidays Showhouse, which you can also find online at atlantahomesmag.shop or in our February 2026 issue on newsstands now.
Welcome to our newest episode of Atlanta Homes and Lifestyles In Residence podcast. Today, we are joined by Valerie Garrett of Valerie Garrett Design. She is the lead specifications designer for our 2025 Home for the Holidays Showhouse. Come on in. Valerie, welcome to our In Residence podcast.
It's exciting to be on it.
So, Valerie, you have been a part of Atlanta Homes and Lifestyle Showhouses before as a participating designer, but being the lead specifications designer for our holiday show house is a big project. Tell us what that leap was like.
It's very different than just doing a room.
Yes.
And it was quite a privilege and an honor. And I think the exciting thing is being able to build from the ground up and have all of those different moments that you weave together as a designer, being able to work with so many amazing vendors. Do you know the collaboration on this house with all the different companies is what really, to me, made it turn out to be so special.
Yes, absolutely. So let's back up a minute. So with a show house, and this particular one was a spec house, the ability to bring in so many different professionals, who many of which are the best in their field, and collaborate together with an incredible design build team, which was Bobby Livingston, Linda MacArthur, Land Plus, countless others, brings the opportunity for a lot of ideas. And so I think that's the biggest difference with being a participating designer and being given the canvas, to make your impact versus you have this incredible opportunity to work with these teams, multiple teams, to create what you have said yourself are these magic moments. So we are in the kitchen, which is your own design today. And so I'd love to hear, let's start with the kitchen about some of these magic moments.
Well, first and foremost, always functionality, but then bringing in some softness. And Linda had really set the bar that she took so much inspiration from a Scottish architect, Charles McIntosh. Okay. And so I got umpteen books on Charles, on Art Nouveau, and then I come through and I said, these are moments that I can work with, right? These are things that are me. That I can then build with. So some of the curved diamonds that you see, that was an inspiration in the kitchen. The detail on the ceiling that we did was from a book that I saw where it was dark paneling and that little trim piece on the walls. And so I needed something special on the ceiling. I didn't want to do beams. I didn't want to do, tongue and groove. And it was one of those things that I just kind of simmered on. And then one day I was like, well, why couldn't we?
Right.
And so I also love that sometimes it's the problem children. We had a few problem children.
Okay.
There always is on every house that you do. And so one of those, they challenge your design, right? But it is like you end up leveling your design.
Right.
And so one of those problem children was the backsplash because of the window, and you had a step-down retaining wall that was right at your point of view on the kitchen window.
Yes.
And so we then decided to take up a really beautiful detail on the backsplash and take it much higher, and we echoed back to architecture that was on a feature on the outside.
Okay.
And so that was one of them. Another one was the hood. And that wall,
yes,
the hood had to be everything. And Morgan Creek, his workmanship on the cabinetry, I just have the utmost respect. It was so
Yes.
much fun.
Ryan is so talented.
And so in stone, I've just got to always say is a leading lady for me. So one of the early on decisions that I made was that Barcelona quartzite from AGM.
Okay, and this is what we're looking at here.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And then the fabrication, of course, is just out of
Of
this
course,
world.
it
Yes.
is.
And so let's talk about how that process works a little bit, because I think that's something that our audience may not be familiar with is the fact that you, as the lead spec designer, of course, we've got a lot of people to please. You've got the builder and the architect, and we've got structural concerns. But at the end of the day, you, as the specifications designer, are also challenging some of these vendors and sponsors to bring their A game and to really bring something into these show houses to make it extra special. And so let's just, again, using the kitchen as an example, talk about how you push some of these vendors to bring something that people may not have seen before, and that we're really going to leave them with this feeling of awe when they walked out, like, this is what I want to do in my next kitchen renovation.
I think that you, as you said, it's not just about me. It's never, in good design, I'm never just designing for me. I'm trying to take the gift that I've been given and then use it for my client. And in this instance, it was about everybody at the table.
Yes.
So it was really important to me that all the vendors had their moments, to shine, but that it also stayed true to what I saw.
Right. And that's a big job.
It is.
Yes.
And so there were conversations we had, I made an edit on the hood and the backsplash at the range because I didn't want too many curves. It was very important to me that we had curves and then no curves, right?
Okay.
So that it didn't take over.
Right.
And so one of the things that we kind of brainstormed on this whole thing was that doing the cutouts on the island. And so we simplified the backsplash on the hood,
Okay.
right, in
Yes.
order to have that detail. But
Really
that
shine.
detail was a
Yes.
beautiful moment. But there are a lot of conversations, among us. And then there were times, and I grew as a designer on this too, because
Yes.
I am very much a team-oriented person, and I don't have to have the best idea as a designer. I have to
Yes.
recognize the best idea.
Right.
And so that is like when Marilyn was the one who had that idea of the cutout, right?
Right.
But then being able, we went through 10 iterations about what that was going to be.
Okay.
And I was like, no, 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 no.
Right.
And then it was like, yes.
Okay.
Like and so then it was the perfect fit. And so knowing to stay true to my gut as a
Right.
designer,
Yes.
and to hear everybody's feedback, but at the end of the day, be the one responsible to make sure that it all was cohesive and made sense.
Right, of course. Oh my goodness. Well, you did a beautiful job, and it's so impressive. And I think one of the things that stands out to me about the show house, and again, your work was not limited to just the kitchen, even though you have additionally decorated the space. I think some of our show-stopping spaces that you also had a hand in, for instance, are the primary bath and closets, which are incredible. And then this ground floor powder. Oh my goodness. Is that the precious stone
That was
in there? Okay.
the blue crystalla that
Yes.
I had never seen. And I'm telling you, when I was walking through looking at stones, I literally stood in front of that blue crystalla. It took my breath away. And as I've said through the show, I would have been absolutely crushed had the investor not said yes to that
Right.
stone. Because I was like, oh my
Yes.
gosh, this is the powder.
I
Do you
mean,
know?
what a stunner of it's such a statement maker. And I do think what you were talking about earlier, that is such a difficult balance to strike in these houses, whether you're doing the specifications or as an interior designer. And we are so fortunate at Atlanta Homes and Lifestyles to have access to this level of design and this beautiful home like this one. And some designers come in and they really want to make a statement in the rooms, and there's the opportunity for there to be jarring transitions, which one of the best compliments I've heard about this house is that it flows so well. And I think that's a huge testament to you and Bobby and Linda and just the canvas that you've provided. But let's talk a little bit more about the variation in the stones too, because it's not just in here. Tell me about some of the other showstoppers. I feel like a big part of the budget for this house is spent on this just incredible stone.
Well, and stone is very near and dear to my heart. So that's one of the early on decisions I made after doing cabinetry design and the hardwoods. When dealing with some of the exterior detail, my number one thing was to go and select stones.
Okay.
And then to create that, where it's cohesive, but interesting.
Right.
And so, and another thing I think is really neat that we had is in the scullery, we have a beautiful brass shelving system from Palmer Industries.
Gorgeous.
And 99% of the time when you see the brass shelving, it's done with glass. And I didn't want glass, right? And so we decided to take that soapstone and put it on the shelving. We had never seen it. But it was like, oh my gosh.
Makes the whole room.
It made it.
Yes.
And because it anchored it, and then it helped the brass to sit in. And then with that little soft illumination of the backlight, it just, to me, it became next level.
Yes.
And again, that's a testament to the team, because I can come up with ideas, but if we don't have the quality people to implement.
Right.
And that's what they got so behind me about going, Valerie, we want to make this happen. So if I had an idea, even I wouldn't know how to do it. I would just go, could we? Like I had never done a trough sink, that we did in the primary bath. And in the primary bath that we did a custom, tile pattern that was, again, kind of that grid repeat that Art Nouveau had. And so that's what I wanted the floor to read. But because of the depth of the room, that's why we went with the floating vanity.
Okay.
And then it kind of grew from there. It's like, well, what if we make the whole thing this beautiful marble?
Yes, and then complemented by the beautiful cabinetry that was flown in from Italy. Is that correct?
I know.
Okay.
That is correct for the closet. It's Italian walnut.
Oh my goodness.
And
So
I mean, the
special.
design of it, so beautiful. And then I was able to do a semi-precious white crystal for all the countertops with a double, edge, one OG and one eased. So it just added such detail to the island. And then in the bathroom, Morgan Creek on his design, like I did the whole plan, but then he came up with this curve on the cabinetry that was, to me, just next level.
Yes.
So it's so fun. That's what I mean about how it all comes. And we'd never done oval, mirrors that were suspended from the ceiling, and that whole the little elliptical shape I've done in a few different places in the house. But that was like the Livingston team were like, Valerie, we're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yes.
And they worked a lot of weeks.
Oh my goodness. I think
To
you
make
all
that
did.
happen.
I think you all did. I know. Well, Valerie, one of the things that I think you are so gifted at, I don't think you could ever relay bad news, Valerie. I think you have this gift, this interpersonal gift, your skills, your skill set in that regard. Everything you've always relay is so calm, and there's always a solution, and maybe that has something to do with you being a mom of four. But I can't imagine how many opportunities were brought to you with this house. And like you said, sometimes you have to say no. Sometimes you've got to say, how can we improve upon this plan? And so talk to us a little bit more about how some of these challenges maybe pushed you as a designer, and how you were able to collectively accomplish the goal, which ultimately is to sell this house to a discerning buyer, while also, pleasing a lot of our partners in the best way that we could.
Absolutely. And, early on, it was really important. I wanted this house to feel like a home. And I wanted it to be a show house, and I wanted everybody to shine. But at the end of the day, I wanted people walking into a home.
Yes.
And so those are the conversations that I had with the designers, and having an extra Zoom call to get the designers to connect. And I do feel that some of that connecting behind the scenes with the designers and trying to create those moments of relationship and then supporting them as I could. I had a specialty paint finish done in that primary bath that I brought my gal in to do, again, because it was the right fit.
Yes.
And so, but in the challenges, I would say that I think that where I grew on this, right, is that because it's about so many more people with a show house, at first sometimes I was doing so much to make it about everybody else.
Yes.
And I kind of got maybe, and I was in there, but it was kind of like
Being a good
I was
team player.
feeling a hair
Yes.
overpowered, just
Right.
a hair.
Yeah.
And I had to back up and get alone and think about it. And then all I had to do was step back and go, but what's going to be the best thing for the house, right? What's going to be the best thing for this potential family that's going to buy this
Right.
house? And that then was my guiding light,
yeah.
right? To try to make it, so that when people walked in, it was something special and something more, which is what I love to do.
I do love that. So what has been some feedback that you've received that has just, made this all the time, all the hours that you've spent worthwhile?
Oh my gosh, it's been overwhelming. Like, I must say, like, it's different doing a show house because it's about the public, and then it's about the design community that Atlanta Homes and Lifestyle has built. It's the architects, it's the builders, it's the designers. So kind of being front and center in that and not knowing, and all I could do is stay true to me. Like, it doesn't matter what is in, it doesn't matter what another designer can do. I've got to be me, right? And I've got to create what I see. And if I veer off of that, then it's not going to be congruent, and it's not going to layer together like a beautiful piece of music. That's how I always equate design. It's like, it doesn't matter how many pieces are beautiful in a piece of music. If one person is singing off key, it throws the whole thing off. And so, but people have just been, I've had rave reviews, and I've had so many people that came through the house, and designers and people in the industry that also were just like, oh my gosh, Valerie, your selections, the cohesiveness of the house, like that's been very rewarding to hear that.
Good. Well, you deserve it. I know. How many hours would you estimate that you've put in?
You know what? Early on, I usually track all my hours.
Yes.
And then the further we got into it, all of my hour trackings in the week kind of went by the wayside.
Right. Oh my gosh. Well, you made the funniest analogy earlier about it was like birthing a baby. So.
Oh my gosh, I have 4 daughters. And so I was like, okay, labor and delivery are over. I'm sleeping through the night. And now we're just enjoying the baby.
Oh, good. Yes, we are enjoying the baby. And it's such a beautiful house. And I think it is just such a testament to a lot of hours, but a lot of hard work that is paying off and paying dividends for you. And so how would you say, going back to your personal aesthetic, how would you say that this home, or this kitchen in particular, or maybe one space, is indicative of your aesthetic and the work that you do in your design firm?
I really love a modern classic aesthetic. I love some of the classic moments, but reinterpreting it with a modern lens that keeps it fresh, right? And so that modern classic is definitely my lane that I design from. But I also, I can design more feminine, and I also can design more masculine.
Right.
Part of what I love is I don't like doing everything the same. So even in this house on the main level and this main level, I kept a little bit more neutral.
Okay.
Do you know, and I kept it, you had a few more softer lines incorporated here, do you know, but then when I went to the terrace level, to the lower level of the house,
Yes, it was
I
incredible.
richened it, right? I wanted that level to be just as neat as the main level. I didn't want to lose ground on that lower level, but I went to a really deep cyberspace, but again, it all started with the stone. Do you know,
Yes.
almost every selection that I did in the house after floor plans and layout, and, and again, like the plan that I got, they had, the kitchen was open to the foyer. And then there was a freezer on one side of the window and a refrigerator on the other. And I was like, as a designer, I was like, ooh, I don't want to have the refrigerator and the freezer with that beautiful window, right? So, but it necessitated closing that off. And so Linda agreed, again, that whole collaboration.
Yes.
But at any rate, I just love design and I love creating beautiful environments and I love the relationship that unfolds with my clients because really at the end of the day, it's ever always about them.
Right.
But I can keep them. I have some like, oh my gosh, she's like a fashion guru. We just did like 1,100 square foot she suite. That's all closet, 14 foot.
Wow.
And so she has a lot of amazing ideas, but I'm the one that kept the train on the track, right?
Right.
Incorporating as many moments, but then keeping it within good design because one thing too many
Right.
is one thing too many. So,
Oh my gosh. Well, going back to the client too, who was the potential client that you had in mind for this house collectively as you were designing it?
what I saw for this home is that I really saw a couple that were empty nesters, or it might have been a individual, right? That had family, but they were now just on their own in this home. But they loved to entertain, but they also loved the intimacy of it feeling not too big. And that's for me, this house, it's one of the beautiful things that Linda did is that it goes from being very intimate and feeling really good for two
Yes.
or one, but then it goes to a couple of hundred so easily. But that was not by accident. It was all in the design that was created.
Yes, I think the
So
single story living, to your point, I think empty nesters or a single individual could really just live on this entire first floor and it flows so well. But the one thing that I am so envious of you all as designers is just your vision when it comes to, seeing the end product when you're walking through. Because I remember walking through the terrace level going, oh my gosh, it's so dark. And,
what are they going to do with
the
that?
layout is a little choppy. And how are we going to do it? And holy smokes, that is, such a beautiful transformation down there. Part of it is the stone and the cabinetry, like you said, and the curved walls and what Kim Riggis has done down there. But just, again, I think having that vision is so important. And of course, the vendors to help execute. But you're right. This is 3 stories, if you need it, that you can absolutely live in every single inch of it or just enjoy this beautiful first floor. So.
And like downstairs, that was a 45-foot long room. Like that's how
Is it?
that's
Yeah, it's
how long
long.
that room
Yes,
is.
okay.
It's like bowling alley-ish,
Yes.
right? And so that's why we did the bigger bar.
Yes.
And then also that one wall, like where the cased opening was, it just felt very vanilla. It's like, what are we going to do to create some interest here?
Right.
And that's when I stepped it in, and then we added that stained wooding. Rounded detail down there. Again, and that's why we then in the lounge as you walk through that we barreled the ceiling and did that beautiful blue Venetian plaster. Again, trying to create those moments.
Yes.
Everything in design can't be a moment, but there has to be enough moments. Right.
To carry the house. Well, I think you all did a spectacular job with that as well. We haven't really gotten into the second floor as well. And I know that some of those closets and the baths up there have some stunning tile floors and plumbing and other details, or whether it's the playroom walls that are curved. Talk to me about some of your favorite details up there.
Oh
as
my
well.
gosh. Okay. Well, there are several. Doing the curved walls in the lounge upstairs,
Yes.
to me, again, took it from good to extraordinary.
Yes.
It's a little moment, right? But it's a big moment on the impact that it had.
Yes.
The way that we did the backsplash in that laundry, that laundry could have been very boring but we had this gorgeous tile from Renaissance. But because of the layout and how tight the laundry room was, it could have gone boring very quickly on the backsplash. And so that's when we did that whole little gorgeous step down that again echoed to some of the architectural details in the house. And then again, tile, oh my gosh, Renaissance. They have so many wonderful things to select from, and working with Robert and working with Randy, and they just again got so behind me on it. But yeah, I again, I'm a stone lover and I'm a tile lover. And so those were really, really important details. And then the plumbing's like the jewelry.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So-
So stunning. Well, I think I just wanted to close with the fact that you are fairly new to the Atlanta design scene, and to make a mark like this in such a short period of time is really remarkable. And I know you and I have talked about, just the Atlanta design community being so welcoming. And so I just wanted to, first of all, say we're so excited that we have accomplished this together. This is a huge project, and thank you for all of your time on this beautiful residence. And we're looking forward to watching your star continue to rise. So,
Thank you. I'm so honored, and I do love the Atlanta design community, and I feel very strongly that it's all because of Atlanta Homes and Lifestyle. So what you guys have created is something so special and unique, and so I love being in this city, and I love being a part.
oh my gosh.
And thank you for extending this opportunity.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for being here, Valerie. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Atlanta Homes and Lifestyles in Residence. Stay tuned for our next episode where we chat with builder Bobby Livingston and architect Lennon MacArthur.